Our mics are hot, finally.
Yeah,
They can hear
actually,
us?
we're unleashed.
All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on Illinois Talks Esports. It's been a little bit of time, but we got quite a docket today. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff going on in the esports industry. Some stuff about specific esports such as Valorant and League of Legends, but then also our personal experiences as well. But I guess before we do that, I will have everyone introduce themselves. I'm Awesome, alumni that was very involved with Overwatch and Valorant, but now I kind of just watch behind the scenes and comment on when things happen.
Yeah, but you just watch everything crumble.
He just question marks us in the group chat. Like, guys, what are you doing?
Yeah. So that's basically my role at this point. But I'm joined by Juan and Isaac.
Yeah, I'm Juan, aka Pirate. I kind of invested in this esports. I kind of do every single esport known to man. Play lacrosse.
You also do everything internal for us.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of spam ping everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm Isaac. I'm the president of the IT. It's kind of like a title card, more like Juan does everything. I do most of the stuff in this space though. I promise. But yeah.
I'm blinking.
Yeah.
I'm blinking.
Yeah.
I'm blinking. I need to
Blinking twice.
Yeah. But yeah, I do a lot of stuff on that. So, I mean, it's just been a great time overall. The semester just started. I know, Austin, you're working, so
Yeah.
you got that 9 to 5 life or 9 to 9 life.
And I mean, it's a pretty cool pretty cool to be like on this podcast because we're all like older now. Like we're all seniors, we're all graduating. We kind of all have seen what it's like to like start an esports org, manage it, like what content is, what competing is, how do you get good players, how do you make a team grow, like what happens when a player doesn't like meet academics, you're like,
okay.
like, everything, like you kind of like we've all kind of like experienced the problems of starting an org, even if it's like a collegiate org. And
yeah. I mean, we always got that one dude, the one guy that just like academic probation instantly. It's like
you don't know what to do.
Yeah,
It's like you're like, all right, look, I can't let you play. He's like, no, like I'll get my grades. And I'm like, I want to believe you, and I feel like I shouldn't let you play, but somehow I'm roped into like being like, maybe he will, but eventually you just have to make the hard decision. You're like, yeah, no, I can't let you play until you fix this.
Yeah, I don't really understand how, because it's like one freshman dude or one transfer guy. It's like, oh shoot, esports arena, like spend every waking moment here. I'm like, please, dude, I like changed. I like flip my life around. I used to be in here all the time.
Gumby's was
the
original.
Yeah. Now I'm
like still grinding. He's on it.
Dude, Gumby's is weird. Now I like wake up. I wake up at like 6 or like 7 now to go work out.
Gumby's is starting to stream.
No, Gumby's starting to sleep.
Yeah, I still have like a really terrible sleep schedule. Just like even though I work at like 9 a.m. and sometimes I'll be like up at like 2 or 3, and then I see like Gumby start streaming. I'm like,
it's time to go to sleep. It's time to go to sleep.
Yeah. I can't be in the same demon hours as Matthew.
He's different. Like, I got practice at 6 in the morning, and I'd be like, great. In bed by 9, just staring at the ceiling, like, the degenerate schedule's got me.
Yeah, but let's running this club in specific is a pain on our shoulders. But there's recently been a hot topic of is esports profitable for orgs, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, why are you signing content creators or not? Why are you not signing tier 1 professional players? Yeah. And I've seen like cropped up the argument that no matter what the esports is, like no matter how good the players are, those players are like never profitable for the org. And it's it's a shame that I think it's just the NA thing where it's like, oh, I need to be paid millions of dollars while the sport kind of suffers, but it's becoming a bigger topic now in the scene.
I mean, a lot of the orgs, like, there's a few different reasons why, they're suffering and losing a lot of value. I mean, one, like, the whole, like, a lot of orgs were backed by crypto in one way or another.
And tech in general.
Yeah. And, like, tech is undergoing layoffs. Like, they're under some trouble. I mean, there's just a recession going on, so obviously there's a lot of different domino effects. Or I can say going on, but, upcoming. But then also, the whole FTX stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like LCS
that was big.
Yeah, LCS backed by FTX, TSM backed by FTX. And then another thing, too, that I think people, it's definitely a big deal and people know about it but don't really talk about it enough is that whole think of when FaZe went public.
Yeah.
I think was really dumb. I think you didn't even need an MBA to tell you that was a dumb idea because there's nothing tangible about an esports org at the moment.
Not even like just like you hit that right on the coffin. Like the only thing tangible is like if you can market and advertise on videos, and it ties back to the point of like that you need good content. Yeah, like you need people actively watching, actively invested. Yeah, but I mean, that might justify some people, right? Because like you can make the Optic Scump example, where like he is the face of Optic. He is like, Optic. You just put his face on anything. Yeah. Like he recently retired and he like made a watch party and it had like 60,000 viewers in the CDL, and he was just like that's what he wants to do, and I guess they see that potential, and it's always just like, how do I make the most consistent content? How do I make my fan base loyal to me? How do I market myself? I don't know if it's like a marketing thing or an advertising thing, but like how does an esports figure out that balance? Because you also have to pay your players, you have to put them in tournaments, you have to fly them out, you have to make sure they have internet.
I think the thing is though, is like, so the creator versus like revenue split, so you'll have like a lot of orgs do like a 50-50, right? So let's say the player drags in $1 million. That's on like conservative end, right? $1 million. 500,000 goes to the org, and 500,000 goes to the player. But that's on like the generous end, right? Yeah. Usually the creator splits like 80-20, where the org gets 20%. Yeah. So now you're signing a multi-million-dollar creator for like, let's say like Ludwig or like Tarek. That contract's got to be like upwards of $10 million. Yeah. Yeah. That's you paying them, and then what they bring in over X amount of years, maybe let's say 10 million back. Mm-hmm. But for him, he just got out of the deal $18 million. Yeah. And you just got $2 million. So your net operating cost is already negative. Yeah. So it's not
kind of just balanced everything.
Yeah, and then I think it's just even worse when you're a player, because right, so the player, like in LCS back in like 2021, like Perks would have been a $10 million player. Yeah. And the only way
clauses were crazy. Though.
Yeah, and like the only way that he can generate generate revenue is merch sale. Yeah. That's it. There's no like all sponsorships go to him. Like you have like team psychiatrists, team doc, like team chefs, team house, whatever, practice facilities, all go to him. So like already you're operating at a net cost monthly. Yeah. For that player, and now multiply that by 5 if you're making a super team, or you're multiplying it by like 2 if you get like maybe a little bit. So there's a lot of operating costs that people I think take into account, but then don't realize that it's like not being brought back. Yeah. Like you're not gaining it. Like the scale is kind of thrown off.
I mean, for a lot of these teams, like the main revenue streams. Well, I say revenue, but I mean like the most cash income was. Like VC backing 1, sponsorships 2, and then now you see the more of that content creator shift in order to bring in that income. Yeah. It was almost never tournament winnings or like revenue share from leagues. And I think that kind of also goes to the point where a lot of these teams, like we saw an explosion of the valuation for a lot of these teams in around I want to say like the 2015-2016 era. Yeah. And I want to say actually maybe even later, like 2016 to 2018. Like
TSM's valuation.
But like roof. Yeah. But like I think a lot of that has to do with 2 main things in particular: LCS and Overwatch League.
Right. With the franchising, you say?
Yeah, because a lot of those, because esports was growing really like at a really rapid rate around that time, and a lot of the orgs weren't able to catch up, and then eventually at some point, LCS like announced franchising, and the buyouts were pretty big, but they weren't like
unimaginable. Yeah, it was just like, oh, this player's good enough. Like, it might be worth getting him out of his contract.
Yeah, but also what I mean, so I misspoke, but not necessarily the buyouts, but the buy-in into the franchise.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
For LCS in particular, that wasn't too unimaginable, right? It was still a lot, but it wasn't like, it was like what, 5 million at the time or something.
I think it was 5 to 10, and like it was like a bidding process.
Yeah. But then like you have Overwatch League on the other hand that's like started at 20 million, and then like year 2 was 60 million, and like a lot of these orgs, a lot of the Overwatch League teams, like they weren't part of a specific esports org. It was just a bunch of like big corporations that ended up buying in. But then the ones that were organizations needed a lot of like backing from those big corporations or investment. And so you saw a bunch of money coming in, mostly because of these two leagues that like had these big buy-ins, and in the long term, it's proven to have pretty harmful effects.
Yeah.
Because we hit recession era, investment money starts
drying up.
And which no one figured out how to monetize it, right? Like when I watch an esports match or something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go buy this player's jersey. I'm like, nah.
But those jerseys are like $80.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to afford it? Like, I am, because most people watch esports. They're usually like high school student, college student. Right?
Yeah, but like I feel like they like kind of drop the ball. Like if they drop like the CDL does it, where like you buy the optic like gear.
Oh, like in game.
For in game.
Yeah.
And then like proceeds go toward.
It's like $5 too.
Yeah, I would I would drop that. I would drop $5 to pick up an optic.
Apex did that.
Or like let's say like there's a C9 vandal, like and proceeds of that go to C9 or whatever. And
I mean that
the league figures out the split, but is it like they're like following such a traditional sports background where it's like, oh, this player's jersey, like people will sell out, like buy Ronaldo's jersey because he's Ronaldo, like of course, but like that's because people go and it's an experience to go watch it. Right now, you're just kind of selling a streaming experience of like it's like a ton of tournaments that are happening.
I know Apex does it pretty well. Apex does it with like banners. So like Apex, you have like that character banner.
Those are cool.
That's interesting.
So they'll have the character banner. Halo does it too. Halo Infinite, when it first came out, they had the Halo skins. Man, that game was bad, but it had potential. I mean, but it was like, I think that way of revenue generating, because I know OWL does it too. With like if you use your Overwatch points on the skin, that team gets like X amount of money or something from those Overwatch points. So I think a lot of the stuff for esports, like how they raise funds for the league, is probably going to go through that way.
Do you know if the teams get like a split of viewership on like the mainstream, or does that all go to Riot?
So at least for
like let's say like a big tournament, does that all go to like the TO?
At least for LCS, I know that there is some sort of revenue share. Like so, like if LCS makes X amount of money, there is something within the organization contracts where they get a certain percentage of it. What do you call it? Overwatch is the same thing, but I know that right now there's like a massive lawsuit that's in the works where a lot of the Overwatch League teams are suing Blizzard because
they're not getting
there's not enough revenue, right? And the revenue like thing is still going on, but there's simply not enough to make up for the operating costs. Yeah. Because I think something like Houston Outlaw spent like $1 million last year just on operating costs. And like they didn't recoup it from the revenue sharing or like anything else, and then they like the
mill.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's a big thing. But like kind of going back to the point that you were talking about with the skins, we got
a view bot on our channel.
Yeah. I'm not mod. Can I do it?
I bot. Alright, let me.
But
I can. Let's get it.
I got him.
Bumba.
But like going back to what you were saying about the skins, like Valorant is doing something interesting. Well, one with the champion skins, like they did it so that all the teams that made champions get like an equal split of that revenue from that skin. But then also, they're doing the team skins for.
Oh, actually, are they?
Yeah, that's already been confirmed.
Oh,
so they're gonna do like C9
rock.
Yeah, they'll do C9 vandals and stuff like that. So
they better do like one of the
paper Rex vandal.
Yeah, like a legendary skin for like the winners of VCT. They do it for Worlds for League, but I hope they do that.
Yeah.
And then they just retroactively give the Masters win or the Champions winners skins, and they give maybe like the Masters winners like a lesser rarity of the skin.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. I'm hoping they really do that. But also like something you guys brought up as well was jerseys.
Yeah.
And like in actual sporting events, jerseys are cool because you can wear them to the event.
They're socially acceptable to wear them.
Yeah. But like for an esports jersey, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like a lot of these events are online, and like you were like, what are you gonna do? Like wear it while you're watching.
It's like, woo, let's go.
You're sitting in your room alone with your like TSM jersey. But kind of going further into that, one of our discussion points is, what are orgs doing right? Or which orgs are doing things right? I kind of want to get your thoughts on like which let's just say name drop 2 orgs that you feel are doing things the best. So Isaac,
you go for it.
Oh, okay. I'm a huge league guy. I watch like literally every league. like major region for professional play. Yeah. I know T1 formally they're smurfing.
Their business strategy was so smart because they're already a broadcasting company.
Yeah. Well, they're like Comcast of Korea.
Yeah.
But
and also now actual Comcast.
Yeah, but I think their main way of like generating revenue is literally just signing young talent, training them up, and then just selling them off for like ridiculous costs.
Yeah.
I think they've literally been. I don't think there's ever been a TSM Academy mid laner, or even like jungler that's ever like missed on the professional scene. So like Gory was the T1 Academy mid laner, and he's on NALCS. He was on LPL, and then there's the closer who's on Live Sandbox now, I think.
Yeah.
And he's a monster. And then there's obviously Faker, and then you have like Easy Hoon who was on EDG.
Yeah.
And he was like a legend in LPL. So like their development of young talent and then just setting up huge buyouts, like they'll just like send them off.
Yeah.
They make a lot of money from that. And I think another one that's pretty good, it's like a content org, would be I want to say Sen is doing something pretty cool. It's like Sentinels do, they do have good teams and they know when to pull out. So they just pulled out of Apex because it's not profitable.
Yeah.
But they know when to cut their losses and they know who to sign.
The issue that I hear,
and all of them make content. Like I've never seen a Sentinels team that just
doesn't.
Like they don't have content scheduled to like appease the people in the game. Yeah. Right? I've seen the Sentinels Apex content.
They also don't like buy out players at humongous prices. They obviously sign like tens, but that's like a franchise player, and then there's Tarek, who's already like an established huge content creator for Valorant. He's like the biggest one in Valorant. So they snipe up like these huge like people that are already established that already generate revenue for them, and then they on their like other side, on their other teams, they sign like upcoming people, and then if they don't perform, they know when to cut their losses and back out, and then find a new people. So they're always, it might operate at a little bit of a loss, but they don't lose over like the hope that they develop into them.
Yeah, I have heard like one of the complaints from the players though, like on Sentinels, is that they don't ever like invest too much into infrastructure. So like one of the key things for Valorant. Yeah, but like for Valorant, they never really tried to sign a coach for all of last year. Even though the players are like requesting it over and over again. Yeah. And apparently that's the same thing that happened on their Apex team as well. But I wouldn't really know much about that. That's just word of mouth.
Yeah. So their Apex roster, they didn't qualify for the London LAN.
But do you really need a coach at the T1 level where like everyone kind of has to play off each other, right? Where like your coach basically is a GM at that point.
Well, for Apex, it's kind of different, but like on like a T1, like a tier 1 level, coaches are pretty important mainly because they allow. So you have an IGL, right? They allow the IGL to do what they do best, and that is call in the game, like mid-match, try to adjust. What the coach does is take everything that you learned from that match and then compress it outside of the match. So having a coach, not having the IGL just get mind overloaded, but like, oh, we should have done this, this, and this, and leave that to the coach, allows him to focus on, oh, we lost this round, let's just move on to the next, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So coaches are pretty important in the tier 1 scene because it takes the load off of whoever's leading the team to focus on the game and not off the game.
Yeah. No, that I really never thought about it like that because like I feel like after you play so much at that level, you kind of see a lot of patterns that happen. Like, oh, they use X amount of util. This is their base take. Like, this is gonna happen, right? You already have your set plays.
Yeah.
It's like, how much does the coach actually benefit the players in terms of like them improving? But it's more of like, making sure they're mentally in the game, which probably is more important. Like when you're stressed.
So you're not like worrying about it after.
Yeah.
It's like, shit.
I think what happens is like early on in esport too, people can be a lot more like teams are a lot more player driven, mostly because not everyone understands how that game is played when a game first starts out. But because there's so much chaos, basically any team can beat another team, even if they have a coach. But eventually, what happens is that one coach probably starts making a name for themselves, and that team starts winning, and then every other team realizes like, oh shit, we actually need a coach too, otherwise we won't be able to catch up. And so I think that's another big factor of it as well. Yeah,
that's fair.
All right, Juan, what orgs do you think are doing pretty good?
From like a business standpoint, I like the moves that 100 Thieves makes with High Ground, the way they market their merch, the way they're
known as the hoodie org for a reason.
but they're making money, right?
Like they're making hella money.
They're appealing. Like, you can buy 100 Thieves merch and it looks good and it's not tied to you gaming. Like, like if you look at, like, if someone's wearing 100 Thieves merch,
right now.
yeah, like it doesn't even looks like it just looks like
it's a socially acceptable merch.
Yeah, and it looks like good streetwear in a way.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people are praising High Ground for the quality of their builds.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like they hit, I don't know if just because they're ahead of the game or if they're just like found that niche market, but like there is a market in like designer keyboards and building your own keyboards. And
I know
just
a lot
whole
of
community is, they kind of just put their stuff out there and everyone's like, dang, these people are good at it. They're like, I eat it up.
Dude,
so.
I know a lot of keyboard enthusiasts are saying that High Ground are kind of like the custom keyboard killer. Because they're like the quality is I had the first one. I gave it to Jake.
Oh,
because
I got the first one too.
It was awful.
Oh, sorry. Are you talking about the first
like the first High Ground keyboard?
I got the first 100 Thieves High Ground one.
No, the first High Ground keyboard, absolute garbaggio.
Yeah.
But the moment like 100 Thieves picked them up, they're like, build quality is fantastic. Switches feel good. Mm-hmm. It's like a fraction of the price of custom keyboards because custom keyboards go up to like $400 at the cheapest.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea why. Actually. If I ever graduate here and I can like 3D print, I'm just gonna make my own custom keyboard company because I can charge like $600 for like a PCB board. Like what?
Well, I mean, assuming the economics of it, I'm sure it's probably just like an issue of economies of scale because sure not a lot of people are buying it, so they just sell it for a high price.
And then, kind of going back to like the profitability of esports, I genuinely think that orgs don't realize that like just because you're an esport org does not mean like owning your own manufacturing, owning your own distribution, your own logistics is a way of making money. Like,
shit.
Like, what if just an esport org like owned their own mouse pads and made their own mouse pads or had a way to like distribute it, and then it's like they're making profit margins off that, and then you're more likely to support your org if it's good quality.
You also got to realize that the majority of the people that play games don't watch esports.
Yeah.
Like esports is a very small minority of people. Mm-hmm. And to appeal to a wider audience, you just gotta like HyperX with C9. It's like C9 is HyperX technically. They make and they're supported by HyperX, the company, which makes like the headphones that we all use here.
Yep.
The mic that we're currently using.
Keyboards.
Yeah, keyboards. So they make everything, and like orgs that don't have that type, like FaZe doesn't have that. But FaZe is like a grandfathered org from Call of Duty days where all
I have so much to say about FaZe. We'll get to that.
Was FaZe, but like FaZe is. They're kind of goofy. They're literally run by frat guys. Yeah. So, I mean, like, just take Juan and, like, multiply him by 8 and then give him a bunch of money.
Okay. I think I'd be good. that opportunity.
So Juan, what is your second team that you feel does a really good job?
I like to say FlyQuest is marketing in the way they, like, try and make a really like they're trying to make something out of esports and like culturally like environmental and stuff like that. I'd say like their marketing team and stuff, phenomenal how they brand stuff out. How they like learn the game and like perform different. But
FlyQuest is owned by the Milwaukee Bucks, so they got a little bit like they have experience with like philanthropy stuff and like setting up, and they have the literal basketball team backing them up.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like that's the thing that people kind of complain about is like, oh, these traditional sports are trying to capture this esports market. And obviously there's going to be growing pains where you're just, like, bashing your head against all. It's like, no, it worked for all these people who play traditional sports. It's like, nah, it's different.
It's different over here.
You guys got people who sit 6 hours a day just grind. And, like, they don't eat, drink water. They're just shooting people. So, that's kind of, like, my take on those. It's like, can you be profitable outside of making content? Mm-hmm. And can you market yourself to set up your players? Like I don't feel like there's an org that kind of like, oh, even if these players are unknown, we're going to make sure their social media is on point.
Yeah.
So that even if they go big, they're going to bring X percentage of viewers to the team streams because then stuff like that kind of snowballs.
There's a lot of examples where like X person leaves a team and then it just blows up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy like that.
Yeah. So like the two teams that I was gonna say was 100 Thieves, And you touched on a lot of points that I was, but one of the key things I want to talk about is, so in terms of merch, right, like 100 Thieves does really good merch, but one of the other things that they do is collaborative merch, right?
Yes.
And so they have a lot of collaborations with pop culture. Like this hoodie I'm wearing right now, I wore this for the podcast to make this point, but it's like it's a Jujutsu Kaisen hoodie. So like, what do you call it?
Wait,
It's
stand
like
up, stand up. You gotta.
Yeah. But it's like
you gotta flex it.
here. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah,
you got it. But like, you know, it's pretty popular anime, right? It's pretty big in pop culture, and so not only is it marketable to gamers or people that are interested in 100 Thieves, but it's also marketable to
people who want.
Yeah, and that's one key thing, right? And when you talk about High Ground, right? High Ground, like their keyboard quality has gone really good, but I think one of the bigger selling points is that they always have these collaborative designs as well. So like the first one that they did was 100 Thieves one, obviously. But then after that, there was a Attack on Titan one. There was a Sonic one.
Yeah.
There's like more that are coming out as well. And so, they sell the keycaps for those individually, but you have the keyboard.
It's like they took the best things of Mash Drop and like orgs and like mixed them together and created like exclusivity to getting them, right? Like they kind of created their own supply demand, which is like.
Yeah, and Massdrop is like one of the bigger companies for keyboard stuff.
For getting just these exclusive stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then like, I can go on for keyboards for a while because keyboards are literally like the most scam thing known to man.
Yeah.
And people like, I want to say people buy into it just like people are very picky about stuff. Like if you give me a red and then just give me another linear switch, I'd be like, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I mean, maybe it sounds better, but I have earbuds in. I'm never going to hear my keyboard.
I just made that point because it's like, I feel like that's what esports orgs don't see, right? Like, it kind of drives to our point of like, where does scholastic esports fit, right? Because I feel like kind of saying, oh, collegiate esports, high school esports, like, no, eventually it's just going to be like esports programs tied to schools, right? Similar to how college athletics work, where you're just getting a degree and still playing your sport because you enjoy it.
It's so crazy. Everything's like changed. Like I look at like CPS or Chicago Public Schools here. It's like, why do you guys have an esports team? And how? Like we donated all of our old keyboards to, I think it was.
Not De La Salle.
No, it's not La Salle. It's someone else. It's one of the people, the people on the events and content team, one of the girls that just joined.
Oh, yeah.
I think we donated to her high school.
Oh, really? That's
awesome.
Because
I think I remember.
But
they have like esports teams already. They have like Rocket League team. They'll have a Smash team, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. It's so different from when I'm literally
even just the culture surrounding it. Like when we were freshmen, I feel like when we were starting it, the whole emphasis was play on your teams, get good chemistry. Like if you do good, you're grinding. Like play by yourself. Like get better. But now it's like
a learning experience.
Now it's like community around it. Like making sure the players have a competitive environment to like do school and then also kind of feel like they're pros, right? Because
it's kind of like the thing where it's like you're a little kid. It's like, hey, good job, and then like the college kid comes in and just absolutely wipes the board. It's like the reality just starts to set in. It's like, oh shoot.
But I do think that it is still an untapped market, and I do think it's still understaffed. Like a lot of tournaments have been just branched out and pawned off to like TOs, and they've been run so poorly that it's like, shout out Red Bull Campus Clutch.
we would have won if we were.
We would have won Brazil. Like,
if
we didn't mess it up.
We'll put IT on the map.
But stuff like that where like, how do they get these formats wrong? Like like they literally played for 14 hours.
Yeah, and then just
and then the logistics messed up. But like even if they did win, it's like you played 14 hours. That doesn't happen in traditional sports. Like
I think some of it is on the publisher as well. And this is a point that like Juan, I feel like me and you have talked about a lot of times. But it's just that a lot of these publishers, I feel like don't realize how big of a how easy it is to set up a tier 2 route through collegiate esports.
Yes.
But basically
and you don't even need to sell the picture that if you play collegiate you're gonna get to tier 2, because Eric posted a tweet and it got like 5,000 views or something, and he was like, all these people that say like collegiate is a path to tier 2 pro are like
delusional. Actually,
delusional. Which I agree with them because like there are levels to it. But what I don't think these tier 2, tier 3 players understand is like in traditional sports you can play D3 and go pro.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what your team does if you're better than your team.
Yeah.
Because then you can just plug you into the pros, or you can go play AAA in hockey or lacrosse.
You got stats.
But, like there's potential. Like the way you play will scale in the other leagues, and you get better because your body gets used to it.
Well, I think also
that doesn't happen in esports, right? Like
I think also
now, the
like
experience doesn't translate.
Like at that level, let's just say at diamond level, or at masters level, like right above diamond. One person doing one thing wrong, completely doomed. It is going to be like a 13-0. It's going to be like FF at 20, completely gone. But you like play a D3. Let's say you're really good at basketball. You drop, let's say, 20 points per game. And then in D3, you're dropping 25 points per game. You're like solo backpacking your teammate.
Yeah, you're still above average.
And
D3.
You can still win games.
Yeah.
But with like, let's just say you're Chally playing with like diamonds. Yeah. And then you go against like an all Chally team.
Yeah,
you're just absolutely washed. Like there is such a big skill gap. And the thing about traditional sports is like,
it's physical. Like you can have the body type that
you can like tire the opponent out.
Yeah, and you're playing D3, so like you might just be 6'10".
Yeah, you just
like the only big on the floor, or like you're just playing in a weaker conference, right? Like,
there's ways to shine.
That doesn't happen yet in esports, and I feel like that's our biggest complaint for the past 5 years, where it's like there's no structure. It's really just like there's no guidelines to like who can play in collegiate. Like there's colleges where like as long as you're enrolled in classes, you're good.
It's like you can be bronze and then go play in this Red Bull campus clutch and then get 13-0'd.
Yeah, and then there's like IIT's like, you got to stay academically eligible to play.
You got to actually have a 3.0 or
you
a 2.0.
Show up on campus. And
but also, I think like another thing too that a lot of these tier 2, tier 3 like pros undervalue is an alternative path, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing with like collegiate
it's expanding. Sports, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's like these tier 2 pros are like, I've been grinding, like my chance is coming. But like, bro, you've been grinding 8 hours a day of WoW. Like you got your 15 people on your Discord, and then
you've had your chance.
Like what's going on? Like what more can you improve on as yourself, as a human, as a like teammate, like as a player, that like going and learning how to be responsible with your time, like, seeing people face to face, like living on your own, like
that's a key thing. But also like there's a very small percentage of people who actually make it to a tier 1, like to a tier 1 level, right?
And it's even lower than traditional sports. Like
there's only so many spots.
Yeah, you gotta have like some sort of alternative path ready, so that hey, like not the reality is that your likelihood of going pro is actually very low. So you need to be set up so if you don't actually go pro, you have
go to college. Like like I would love it for like in 10 years, like I peaked in Mortal 1, Mortal 2. I want to do CS because I've been playing this and this is my career path. And then the college gives the kid half scholarship, and then he can go to college.
Well, I mean, like
figure it out because of that.
I think esports mainly because like the first teams that were ventured in is it's set up kind of like the MLB.
Yeah.
You have like AA, AAA, MLB.
Yeah.
And like AA, AAA players get paid like nothing. And it's the same thing as tier 2. Yep. Tier 2 and tier 3 you get paid like pennies.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like you gotta take care of those people because those people actually love the game.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in like the NBA or NFL, you have all these people coming in through collegiate. Well, but most of the people. A lot of the players come in through collegiate for those leagues. But I think another thing too that like people just kind of don't. I mean, you kind of covered this, but one is that a lot of these players they're really young. They're like 18 to 25 around, but they almost never have developed any social skills, and that's why you see a lot of these streamers say really weird stuff or do really weird things because they don't understand these different social situations or what to say,
or not to kick your teammate while
exactly.
But I feel like they blow up because
or how to get constructive criticism and stuff. It's like it's like they deal with failure so poorly.
Yeah.
And
they live in their own bubble. They were the most skilled person in high school, and now they go into the real world and they realize.
Yeah, but that's the thing. collegiate and scholastic esports isn't there yet in the sense of like everyone who's playing D3 college was that guy in their high school.
Exactly.
Right? Or like
I mean, it's just like college in general. Like, you were that guy in high school that was really smart, and then you go to like UC Berkeley, and then you're just a normal person.
Yeah.
And people can't cope with like the fact that like I was big shot, I was so good, and then you get hit with the reality.
And
it's
then
like
that's the real grind starts.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes more like how fast do I learn? How do I learn? What are my skill sets? So
yeah.
What would you guys propose to like what should developers do to help incentivize collegiate or scholastic? Because like right now it's kind of like on
life support
and community orgs. Like you got Battle for the Midwest,
it's
like on Kaiju Core. Like they host really cool tournaments and like actually make it so like you go play on LAN and meet other colleges.
Great Lakes Gaming does that too.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like I enjoy that, like because then you go meet players in your city. You go travel. It's a fun experience. Like pile into someone's car at 7 a.m. Figure out where this LAN center is, and then you're just like someone's stuck in the like trunk.
Yeah, I think
with a Red Bull trying to wake up because you've been gaming.
I think what's a good one is that it's kind of like the NBA or like the draft. First we would need scouts, right? So scouts to find people, but then you force people to go to college. Obviously, or not force, but you scout majority from college.
You shouldn't force them to go to college. Yeah. Like if there's like a boy, like I forget his Rainbow Six Pro that just retired. Bolo. Like
that's like a once in a generation.
You have a Bolo, like if you have like a Viper.
In Overwatch, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like in Overwatch, there's a lot of underage players that couldn't play until they
turned 18. But it should be like be like LeBron going straight out high school.
But like Bolo is like a LeBron of
Siege,
Six, right?
Yeah.
Like Scump was the
LeBron
the Jordan of Call of Duty.
Yeah, so it should be like that, but like majority.
Those players should have the option, and obviously like stuff should be in place for them to be taken care of, and if that happens, but like.
Majority should come from college.
Yeah, you should be able to develop, or like if you're good enough to play tier 2 should be like you can do both, right?
It'd be like the G League. Basically.
That's what Eric does. He does.
Yeah, but it should be like it should be kind of formulated like that, where it's like scouts mainly scout from college.
Yeah.
And then like if you are that guy, he is him type of thing.
And like
you go straight to tier 1, whatever.
And like another thing people don't say, like, oh, you could be Radiant and you're like went to college and your team isn't that good. Like, well, who's to stop you to make your team good and just have it, become like Creighton, like that small D1 basketball school. Like, they made the tournament now and they're shitting on people, because they're like their team just learned how to like play basketball without dribbling and all they do is shoot. Yeah, that's it. They're just like
they just pass,
shoot.
They like force their med on everyone and then they're better.
Yeah,
and. That is even that point that makes that star player so much more valuable because number one, he can coach other people. 2, his communication skills are good. He's a leader.
Yeah,
like these soft skills are so much more important for your life, and I feel like that's what people don't understand. They're like, I have to go pro or it's nothing. But like,
you're literally coin flipping your life.
Yeah, like what happens if you don't go pro? And you don't have those soft skills, like how are you gonna do a minimum wage job interview? Or you gotta get into college. How are you gonna write these essays? Or
it's literally like the guy. It's like the NBA prospect bust. It's like I've only known how to play basketball my entire life.
Yeah,
and it just didn't turn out, and I didn't get the max contract, and now I'm mopping floors.
It's like those Twitter posts of like the 17-year-olds are like, I'm grinding Val, make it or break it, I'll never quit, and you're just like, no.
You can grind Val while still being productive,
and then they grind Val and they'll get invited to the Tarek 10-mans and then boom, career over. Like
now they just deal with the crypto throwers and then
our terrorists.
Like it outside looking in, it's like it still is who you know in the industry.
Yeah.
Like
I think another thing. So like one of the issues I have with publishers when it comes to supporting, like collegiate esports. Is I feel like a lot of times they pick the shittiest TOs, right?
Yes. So Skillix, you go pro.
But also, so one, they pick the shittiest TOs, and I think that they're so locked into a specific TO.
Or it's like the TOs don't have any stake. Like they're like, I already got paid up front, or I don't need to make it good.
Yeah, and they just drop the ball.
Yeah, but it's just like, basically when they commit to a TO and that TO is shit, then it makes it really hard to pick it back up in the future for any other TOs because then it's like, okay, maybe there's no interest.
Stain on it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think what publishers need to be doing is maybe start doing like a collective fund for multiple TOs. So like TOs apply.
They should be bidding. Like it's a bidding process.
Yeah, they apply to be officially riot sanctioned. There can be multiple TOs at once, and that goes through. And I don't know what CVAL is like. Maybe CVAL is really good.
CVAL has been good. It's just there's not, you can't play that many people.
Yeah.
Like right now, you have to win your group to get invited to playoffs, and then you get 2 games in groups.
Yeah.
Right? Where like you don't really get an accurate measurement of how good you are because you're probably going to get one team who's relatively new and like lower ranked, and then you get no valuable info on if you're good or not. You'll just wipe the floor on them.
And then you get wiped.
And then you'll play against the other team who also wiped the floor on them with the same scoreline you did. So like the only gauge of how good you are is like that one and done that you play. Or right now we have a BO3. Like, thankfully it's a BO3.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that format where it's like kind of league into playoffs, which if you think about it, it's just structure of like a conference, right? You play against everyone in your conference, and then the top 4 make it to playoffs, and then the top 1 who, like the person who wins the conference goes to the NCAA, and then NCAA soon. Oh, true.
Which is crazy
yeah.
to me that collegiate esports didn't follow that format when regular traditional collegiate sports followed it for so long. Where it's like, regional, and then, those regions meet, and then it gets, closer and closer until the very end. I don't know why that format wasn't followed. Maybe there's a lot of different things at play. But
do you think it should have been followed? Because, like,
I mean,
I agree with, there should be some things we take, but, like, not everything. Because, like,
the way that
because then you mess it up, and there's like, oh, well, you see, traditional sports and esports aren't the same.
Yeah.
The way that I'm just kind of putting the question out there.
The way that I see it is that collegiate esports is so varied on the skill level that it's better to break it down into divisions or like regions before you make it higher. Because generally, what I feel like is in the specific region, like let's just say you go to like a small town school, you're most likely not going to get a very high. A high skilled player, right? And like, you go to school in Montana, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many rating players are there probably in Montana? I don't think there's likely that many, right? But
watch it be like all of them are in Montana. That's all they do. That's all they can. It snows 7 months out of the year.
That was the truth. I should just move to Montana to become a Radiant player. But essentially, it's like, I would assume that when you build that culture in a specific region, it kind of spreads like throughout, like over time.
Yeah.
But the idea is that the more centralized it is, the less varied skill levels are, at least over time. And then that makes the competition better level for the people at the lower ends and the people at the higher ends too. Because at some point, I know one of the issues that like C Team had for Valorant last year was that they were always facing against immortal players, right? And they're like facing them across like the state too. And like ping is a huge issue too, so that's another thing to consider.
Force silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Force silly.
150 ping at all times.
Yeah. So that's like one of the like that's basically why I feel like that format should be followed.
Yeah, and I feel like it comes down to like the publishers not putting in the time to design the league, design the conference, design around the pain points of, okay, you have 5 people who are probably not playing together on campus. What's the pain point of getting 5 kids together to play collegiate? What is the best times to do so? When is it not? What format is most respectful for their time? Because I don't want to be playing
8
3
hours.
best of 3s on a Saturday. Exactly. Or like if they I want to do something my Friday nights, but like if I have CVAL on Friday nights, like great.
I remember Overwatch would do like matches on Thursdays, which was crazy.
Oh yeah, dude, Tespa would do matches on Thursdays, so I'd be like, oh dang, it's like almost the weekend. I like Thursdays. I have like 3 classes.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's at night at like 9 p.m. So we're scrambling, and then
wait, I actually have to. Okay, I'll be there at 8.
Okay. Yeah.
So at 7:55, I'll.
Yeah. But it's
I'll
like
twerk on stream and.
It's like Tespa.
I'll drop it down for Ty, so he's inspired.
Tespa's like, they just picked like the worst match because they try to please everybody.
Yeah.
You have to realize they can't please everybody, so they pick like 9 p.m. to 11, and then like this place closes at like 12.
Yeah, or like imagine if like they were just like, okay, here's the list of teams in your conference, have your coach schedule your games throughout the season.
Yeah.
And you just have them all played by X season.
Yeah. They just want everything done at the same time, so they just updates immediately.
It's one of the issues of collegiate esports being run by like 18 to 22-year-olds is that like they try to be people pleasers.
Yeah.
But you have to have like basically the balls to be like fuck
sentence.
you. Yeah, I mean you just have to have the balls to say fuck you. Like that's not possible.
It's Omega Doom for you. Just don't. Sometimes you gotta turn them away.
Yeah. All right. So I know that Juan wants to leave soon. I do want to talk about one more point before he leaves, so I'll try to bring this up quickly. So we were talking about Valorant formats earlier. Right. Let's talk about more specific game esports stuff.
Yeah.
So Sao Paulo, this is a big kickoff tournament for Valorant. I'm not sure if I know Isaac was unaware of the format, but I'm not sure if you are.
It's the BO1s, right?
It's not BO1s,
or it's like one match. There's no losers bracket, right?
Yeah, it's 32 teams.
Single elim.
Yeah, 32 teams, 10 from
Makes
each.
it more spicy though. I like it.
Yeah. So 10 from each region, or 10 from each of the VCT leagues, and then 2 from China. And then it's.
I'm curious to see those teams.
Yeah.
I know nothing about Chinese.
I think there was one Chinese team
in champs. EDG, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. They
went out in groups. They had one crazy crack player, Kong, that kind of carried them, but the rest of them weren't that good.
I mean, China's never been good at FPSs.
But like, they definitely have the coordination with the util. Like, that's where I feel like they could like come up with some crazy exile.
When you watch them, they're like playing a different game. They're just off the goop. They're like coming up with stuff that like no one ever thinks of. Like
they're just flashing through a peephole.
Yeah, they're playing R6, so you're like Valorant. It's like what?
Yeah, I mean it's just like what do you call it? Like a Raze player playing with like I don't know, with like a Marshall the whole time. Satchel jumping in with a Marshall. Like,
it's like what? Live by the APAC, die by the APAC.
Floating.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, sure, well, let's go with that. But, I mean, so originally my thought was this bracket sucks. But the way that Riot, their philosophy is that they don't want to split up, they don't want to play 2 games at once, right? They want everything to be... Yeah, they want everything to be on the main broadcast so there are all the viewers. And, the whole point of the kickoff tournament is to showcase all the teams. So, in that sense, it makes sense. Having a double elim bracket is...
It's going to take like 10 years.
Yeah.
For 32 teams?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Double elim, 30. Plus, it puts more stake on the games, right? So, it's not like the pros have to be focused. All the pros are going to give it their all to win it. This is their worlds, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it shouldn't be BO1.
Also, it's 10:50. I don't know when you need to head out.
I could run there in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about BO1s, though. BO1s...
It's BO3s.
Is it BO3s?
Yeah, it's BO3s.
Oh, it's just single elim? That's
single. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any quarrels with the format, then.
Yeah, I mean, I have an issue with the schedule.
I thought it was BO1s, but
if it's not BO1s, then it's completely fine.
Yeah, I have an issue with the scheduling, though, because it's one side of the bracket plays 1 week, and then another side of the bracket plays another week, so it's that other side of the bracket just has a whole week break before they play.
Time. It should have been alternating.
But that's up to... I don't disagree. I don't mind it, because in real sports you have those things where in the World Cup you'll play your group stages in 3-5 days, and then you have a week off. All the groups are done while you're waiting to see who you play. You're still practicing. You're still scrimming.
The thing is that because in traditional sports there's not a lot of variable in the way the game is played overall, I would say. But let's just say for Valorant, right? Chambers out of meta. People, it's kind of still up in the air. What
is it patch locked? Is the tournament patch locked?
It's gonna be
play one patch throughout the whole.
It's gonna be this Lotus patch.
Okay, so
Chambers gone.
No, but that's fine because it's not Worlds every year where they drop the patch.
Oh, they drop the patch right before. It's game altering patch.
Yeah, but basically the idea that I'm trying to get at is that it's single elim, right? And because the meta is changing, what's gonna happen is that all these teams that are in this other side of the bracket are able to look at what all these teams are running and then refine the meta even more during their scrims. So the team that plays the first week is kind of at a disadvantage. Which I mean, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that big of a deal. I don't even think the schedule is a massive deal, but it is something that I feel
I see what you're saying though. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But in a way, some regions are at a disadvantage because of the infrastructure, because of the players.
Yeah.
NA right now is probably the better region, I'd say, in Valorant.
Yeah.
It's the most invested region.
The most invested. The interesting thing about Valorant is that a lot of the teams a lot of the regions are very competitive. Brazil won champs. NA won, or EU won Masters 2, NA won Masters 1. Right?
Yeah, APAC looks good.
But I felt like
APAC
everyone was
good.
playing the same meta.
Yeah.
Like, all the metas are, like, everyone is on the same page. It's like Counter-Strike in a way where, like,
I would say...
Like, execs don't change, just how good you are mid-round or how good is your entry. Like, it gives the individual players a way to show off.
I think a lot of that is because the APAC players end up copying the other two regions a lot more. So like EU is a little different than NA. They're still fairly the same, but APAC like they kind of lack a lot of like the fundamentals in tac shooters. So I think they pick up a lot of stuff from the other regions,
which is fine.
Which I think is
fine. Yeah,
that's what should happen. Like if you're the best in your region and you go and get smoked at the World Championships, and you're just like, wow, we suck. No, it's not like you suck. You just haven't been playing against good players. Like,
but that's why it feels less like different between regions in this.
I think they like. I guess their type of game is like more. That's why you see APAC teams are like way more chaotic and they thrive in it. It's because like the games that they play are like mobile games.
Yeah, and they're fast.
They're like fast-paced games. Mechanics. So they're really good at like Neon. They'll be really good at Raze. They're really good at like Yoru. They'll be like good at these like weird champions.
Individual stuff.
But then you have like Korea, which is completely different. Korea is known for like their control, like even from League for StarCraft, their control.
Their team play where like every play is like
meticulously crafted.
Or it's like why it works because you have prio here and this means that. Yeah. And then it's a 2-on-1. And
it becomes like this all-encompassing thing.
True, Korea having one company. Yeah, true. But NA also pulled out one in that 100th C9 game. That one was a snooze fest.
They're so like their culture of gaming is controlled based gaming,
which is also
where you give up an inch and they take the mile.
Yeah, which is gonna be interesting to see in Valorant because like it's not like League of Legends where Korea has their own league. It's just the APAC league, right? So
APAC, APAC North, APAC South.
Yeah, and there's like you have like basically two extremes, right? You have Paper Rex, which is like the agent of chaos, and then you have DRX, which is just like disciplined and fully about fundamentals.
Hold the angle for 30 minutes sniper training.
And so like seeing them in the same league, it's gonna be very interesting to see like how the different teams develop. I mean, personally, I think Paper Rex is just gonna fall off eventually.
But no, but yes, but no. But like, think about how many times you've been killed by like that random in 10-mans that like just shift walks up some random angle, or like he just decides to fight his own one, like, and he, you know what I mean, like, these disciplined teams can take stuff from those really chaotic teams and be like, well, why are these chaotic teams beating us? Because they're fighting in the right spots. It's just they're better at it, right? You know what I mean? Like,
but
stuff like that is like what drives the game, and I feel like one meta doesn't define it. It's just infrastructure of each league.
Yeah, but I think basically
you gotta blast.
Ty's gonna.
Anything you want to say before you leave?
You guys, I don't know. I got put on the spot.
Actually choked.
Win CVAL.
Don't choke in CVAL.
Don't get DQ'd like Red Bull.
We can't.
You're all approved. They literally can't.
Bro, they almost DQ'd me. Like, they're like, you're a fifth year. What do you mean you have a 0.0 GPA on your masters? I'm like, no. Shout out Cook Term.
Hey, but you're not even doing Cook Term anymore.
I have like 5 grad classes completed.
What, you gonna just finish it out? No. It's like what, 4 more? Like chilling.
No, I would have had to stay another year. I can't do that.
Come on.
No. If IIT pays me.
That's what I would have said.
They're asking for more money.
All right, see ya
later, man. But but I mean, I guess to kind of close this topic out, I'm gonna move more towards the side.
Yeah, Juan died. You gotta get him out.
But basically, like to kind of close out this topic, I think the format is really good. I mean, the idea is really to showcase the teams more than anything, and you can argue that maybe like playing one match to showcase a team isn't that good if they just lose.
But it's supposed to be like a preview.
Yeah, basically.
So it's like a little a little hors d'oeuvre to the whole league. It's like, you want to watch your favorite team play at least once.
Yeah.
So it's like, I wonder how Paper Rex is doing.
Yeah.
And then you just watch them like go crazy.
And the stakes aren't super high because it's like all they get is another region or another slot in Masters. Like their region gets another slot in Masters, and so it's like, you're not getting points towards champions or anything.
Yeah.
So really, it's just helping your region more than helping yourself. So the stakes aren't really super high. So I think the format is good overall. It's got that whole like March Madness vibe where it's like
anyone can go out. I mean, that's what makes college basketball pretty entertaining to watch.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, your team performed, like, let's say Kentucky performed really well, and then they get knocked out by like St. Mary's. It's like, well, what just happened?
But I will say, like, it's really unfortunate that Sentinels and Fnatic face each other in the first round.
Really?
And so it's like one of those teams goes out, and I feel like both those teams have a lot of hype around them. And like whichever team loses is gonna be boomed for the rest of the year. Because they have so many high expectations around them that if they go out in the round of 32, it's just like
you already see the copy passes like EU or NA means the nearest airport, or EU's like EU's airports that way. It's like some airport copy pasta is going to be popped out because they're going to be first rounded.
Yeah, or like there's going to be some, like people are going to be shit talking tens like if they end up losing.
But yeah, I mean, professional esports is fun and all, but you know we are gamers. Yeah. And you know we play games probably every day. Yeah. So I was wondering, you know, this is an esports type of podcast, but we're going to try to move it into like a personal type of thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what games you been playing? You know, how you feeling about them?
So, I mean, for multiplayer games, the only game that I play right now is Valorant. And then for single player games, I've been playing a lot of, Fire Emblem Engage just came out. Yeah. So I've been playing that. And then before that, I was like playing through Sekiro.
I want to touch up on Fire Emblem because I've also been playing it. Yeah. I haven't played attack RPG in like years. Okay. So the last one I played, well, not years, maybe like a year. Yeah. Last attack RPG I played was Disgaea 5. I'm a huge Disgaea simp. Mm-hmm. I love it because you can grind everything out. Yeah. I played Fire Emblem Engage. I'm on chapter 14, so I'm basically almost done with the game. Okay. Because there's 21 spoilers. There's 21 chapters. Okay. But the gold generation in that game is so dog pissed.
Yeah, so
piss poor.
If you haven't played a Fire Emblem game before, this one is very different. People are kind of baffled because it's like Three Houses was like a good all around game. Like
it was a decent game. Yeah,
it was like for the hardcore people it was good, and then like for the casual people it was good as well. But this game is like it's really good for the hardcore people, and all the casual features suck in this game, which is fine. But like grinding is hard, and then especially grinding for gold.
Dude, gold, like it feels like every time you complete like a major city, it's like, here's your daily allowance, son, and then you goes like, oh great, I can go do so much thing, upgrade one thing, I'm out of money. It's like what? It's like, oh, I'm gonna go upgrade my I'm gonna upgrade my brave sword to like +5. Yeah, I'm out of money.
And it's gone.
Yeah, and this guy's like, whoa. And there's like one, like the only strat I've seen recently for Fire Emblem Engage to generate gold is you get Ana, who's from a side story, and then you have to get the DLC because it comes with Tika, which increases luck, and then you just farm for that. But then I have to buy this new DLC.
Yeah. Well, like one of my friends is doing that, and what do you call it? Even he still has trouble with gold.
Literally, you can do like a gold excursion, and you get like 3,000 gold. Yeah. And like to upgrade something is like 50,000 gold. Yeah. It's like, oh, what?
But I mean, this is just my experience because like now I'm out of school, so I just have a lot more real life responsibilities. But like, I find myself playing less multiplayer games now. Like I try to play Valorant like when I can, but I just don't get a lot of time. And so like, the new act came out, and then like 2 days after the act came out, I had to go to San Diego for work. And like now I can't come back, and then Fire Emblem is out. I was like, oh man,
I gotta play Fire Emblem.
Yeah, and so
I feel that.
Yeah, and so like I started playing like Valorant again, but like it's just so weird because when the act first started, like I was farming like all these kids, and then now I come back and like I have the most brain damaged teammates ever. And I don't understand how the match quality shifted so much, like in just like that 1 week.
Yeah,
I was gone.
I've had that pretty bad. Like the start of the league season was maybe like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. In gold, it's like bot account, or like bot as in like they paid for it. Yeah. And then the next game, actual bots. I was like, where do you find like I don't understand where like the matchmaking, it has gone so badly. Like some of my friends just stopped playing League. They're like Diamond Plus, and they'll have like the most boosted player known to man on their team. Yeah. And it's like, how are you not just straight banning this dude? Because clearly he does not belong in the skill. Like I understand, like, oh yeah, you can have one bad game, but then you have like multiple games. You would go to their op.gg, you'll see like 1 in 14, 1 in 15. Like they're like constantly just getting fisted.
Yeah,
and
why
it's
is
like
the person not permanent to iron already?
Yeah,
like
it's like, bro, how's your MMR not just like in the gutter?
No, I had like my matchmaking has been pretty weird too for Valorant lately, but it hasn't been like terrible. But it's like, so I peaked plat last act, and then basically like all my games this act, it's like I see the people's triangle from last act, and it's like diamond or high plat. I'm like, why am I in here? Like I was like plat 1 or like almost plat 2 last act. And then like a couple of days ago, actually I think it was a couple of days ago, I was playing a game and like someone in my lobby had an Ascendant gun buddy.
Like, it's like, what are you doing down here?
Yeah, like Ascendant was like last act. Like how the hell like are you in this lobby?
It's an actual bot account.
Yeah. Well, no, he was like shitting on us. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like,
why are
do you see the Radiant 5 man that like queues against Iron players?
Yeah,
I don't even know how that's even allowed.
Yeah.
Like there shouldn't even be that. But one game I've been staying away from the competitive games. Other than League, I'll play queue up a normal League.
Yeah.
But like even TFT now, some of my friends have like gotten really serious about it and be like, oh, I want to hit Masters, I want to hit Diamond. Like TFT is, I think the game becomes unfun the moment I start competing.
Yeah.
Like the moment I start playing meta, I'm just like,
like
absolutely snooze
You're doing the
fest.
exact same thing like every round. You know, like you're buying the same thing, you're doing the same place.
Well, it's like well for TFT, it's like there's set meta comps they can basically only win with. And like all the other comps, the stars have to align. You have to like recite an incantation, pray to every deity known to man to get like a fourth place.
Yeah.
So it's like the moment I like start taking games seriously is the moment it stops being fun. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was so sinful. I started playing Path of Exile again, the game that you actually need a PhD to play.
Yeah.
But Path of Exile is just dumb fun because I can just like AFK, like do a League starter build, clear most of the content that I want, and then maybe if I really want to put another like 100 hours into the League, I'd do like another character. And then I have all the currency stuff set up for it. But I think it just comes with age because I used to be a huge Apex person.
Yeah.
But now it's like Apex, if I play normals, it's boring because they don't shoot back. Because I'm at a level where even if I don't play Apex, I'm still better than literally probably 90% of the players.
Yeah. I mean, I used to play a decent amount of Apex as like casually, like as like my secondary game. Yeah. And then for a while I stopped, and then a couple of weeks ago I came back to it, and a lot's changed. I mean, particularly because of the new map and a lot of new characters. Yeah. I like the new map, but like I don't know. I used to find the game like super fun. Like casually, I could never play it competitively, but like now, like I go back to it and I just feel like I'm like it's like Groundhog Day, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
is it good or not?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like it's weird because it feels like the game is independent on your teammates, but also is like
it's gotten to the point where it's like if you're playing ranked. Mm-hmm. One man down makes a lot of difference. Usually back then it was like one man down, it's like whatever, you can still 2v3.
Yeah.
But people have gotten so good at like plat and above that if you make one mistake, it's like League, right? Yeah. In League it's like in gold now, if you make a mistake, the game's over.
Yeah, I just get punished.
So, I mean it's just the general skill base of the lobby just going or the game going up, which is a good thing for people that want that type of experience. But then like in Apex specifically, if you go from being a ranked star to scrimming, it's like you're going from pred back to bronze. Scrimming and comp is so much more different than the ranked experience. The ranked experience, everybody just ints it. Just for no reason. Everybody just run it.
Every single time.
Yeah, they'll just run it. But in comp, it's like you have to play rotation, loot fast, rotation, like loot rotation, macro play, micro play. There's so much stuff going into it that like, even if you're a plat, but you've just been scrimming your ass off, you're probably a better player than some people in Masters.
Yeah.
But it's just like Apex it used to be a fun game because now casuals, it's like you hot drop. If anybody that doesn't hot drop, now there's only like 10 squads, like minute 1. It's like, dude, the casual experience is so bad, but that's just BRs in general. You can drop wherever you want.
But also, I think one of the issues that I have with Apex is that the rank, they changed the rank system, which I think overall is technically for the better, but the experience feels much more grindy now.
Yeah, because it's because like there was such a big problem with people hitting diamond.
Yeah.
And then just stopping.
Yeah.
So there'd be like a majority of people in diamond and then just like whatever.
Yeah.
So they wanted to increase that range, but the one thing that the TFT has this problem too is that you can't demote.
Yeah.
So people in Diamond 4, we used to call them in my friend group over at RIT, we call them Diamond 4 shitters. Because what they'll do is they're Diamond 4 0 LP or 0 RP, and they'll just run at you for anything.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even matter if it's a good one or a bad one. They just run at you.
So, but that's the thing, right? So I think one of the changes that they made in the new rank system was that you could derank, at least from tiers.
Yeah, from tiers, but you can't demote from Diamond 4 to Gold. So that's the problem. You can't demote from Diamond 4 to Plat 1.
I see.
I mean, you can't do that in regular League 2, but the games are so much longer. There's more at stake.
Yeah.
Apex, you die, you just queue up another one.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, it just like, for me, I would play ranked like more than like pubs in that game just because I felt like the teammates were better.
Yeah,
even if they were hot dropping.
But the matchmaking experience is so much better in that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's like everybody has a current understanding that there's something on the line. At least in like, gold, plat, below.
Yeah.
But when you hit diamond, it's like a rank reason. It's like super silver.
Yeah. The silver surfers.
yeah. It's actually just the super. It's just silvers, but now they can aim. That's it.
Yeah. No, but yeah. I mean, but basically, like my main issue is that now rank just feels like way more grindy. So I just like. Yeah. And I can't play pubs that much, so it's just. I just stopped playing Apex.
I mean, Apex itself is not a very good state right now. Like, they keep releasing map content, but that doesn't change the core gameplay, which is what I feel. I want a new gun to be released.
Yeah.
Or a competitively viable legend that's just not overtuned. Or, like overtuned but bad, right? So, like...
Also, characters like that are changing. Like, I know Gibby has been ultra or meta for, like, who knows how long, right?
But he's been phased out as Seer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so like the Seer, it's like Seer Horizon Bloodhound or Seer Horizon. Oh no, just Seer Horizon. It's double scan meta, which is Horizon and Bloodhound, or you go like Horizon and.
So why Seer though? Because I remember like
it stops reses. It is such a broken ability. Like his Q is so broken that you can just like stop. He plays a different game. It's like Crypto, right?
Yeah.
Crypto, you can just play R6 and you're
on.
Seer plays a different game. He plays God mode.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I cracked someone. They're popping a battery right behind them.
Tell them.
It's like, all right, I guess I will just die now.
Another game that I stopped playing, but this was more farther back, was Overwatch 2.
That game is, I would say it's better than Overwatch 1.
Yeah.
However, they kind of had a good balance with the 6 people with 2 tanks because now the tank isn't just like permanently scared. It has someone to back them up. And in like Overwatch 1, now it's like RPS or rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're playing Zarya and they're playing, let's say like D.Va or something. You just get straight countered. All right, now I got to change tanks. Oh, I'm playing Hog and they're playing D.Va. I got to change tanks.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just so bad. And I think I watched a Flats video and he's playing it pretty well, where it's like if the sequence of how to determine if you get a victory is like, 1, is the tank skill disparity large? If it is, you lose.
Yeah.
Is the DPS, and then it goes to the DPS. Is the DPS really good at Sojourn Widow? If they are, you lose. And then like supports have like very minimal impact on the game.
Yeah.
Because all they do is just healing the tank, but if the tank disparity is already pretty bad, they just instantly die.
Which is one of the reasons why I stopped playing the game, was because I felt like it's kind of weird because I do like the new support playstyle where it's more focused on being a little more aggressive and taking more risk.
Yeah.
But the main issue I had was that eventually, like, it feels like even now more than ever, support is more reliant on your teammates in some instances because you're just a lot more squishy overall. Like, there's less effective health in the game.
Yeah.
And so
there's less peel.
Less health. Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like, as a support player, it just, doesn't really feel as fun anymore. But I think another thing too, so I played a game a lot during Season 1.
Yeah.
But then the second Season 2 dropped, I actually don't think I played a single minute of Season 2.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason for that is because when I saw the balance patch for Season 2, I kind of gave up all hope because it's like, I was hoping that, Blizzard would change their ways in Overwatch 2, right? They made all these promises, and like Blizzard, that's like the Blizzard classic, right? They make these promises and never follow up on it, and it happened again. Where they're like, every season, massive balance patch, like we're gonna, whichever character is meta, we're gonna do
them. Yeah,
exactly. And then that didn't happen. In fact,
they like indirectly buffed Sojourn. Yeah, because they buffed Mercy for some reason.
And just made Sojourn pre-nerf anyways.
Yeah, and so like they buffed Mercy with like a really dumb buff to her gun, but like what do you call it? She's still one shots with the damage boost basically. Yeah. Like you just need to land one bullet, and then the ult is better now because it just fucking spams. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's just like Overwatch 2. I want to like it because we both played Overwatch in college. Mm-hmm. We were on like the original, peak of ITE Overwatch. Yeah. That was fantastic. But like I want to like Overwatch because it's my first competitive game. Mm-hmm. But then there's things that just drag me away. It's like tanks, like every tank is just now Superman. They can do whatever they want whenever they want. And then DPS. Like, I mainly play DPS. I feel like the only fun role. I play support, and I just dread my life.
Yeah, for me, that's the same thing for me, too. Like, I used to love playing support, especially Zen, but it just feels like now, like, I might as well just play DPS.
Or you might as well just play Mercy and just get the free win. Yeah, you just hold right-click on, just find the highest ranked player on your team and just hold right-click, and you're just, instant win.
The only cares I would even care about playing are, like, Zen, Ana, or Lucio.
I just hated that they, their massive balance update was, 5 lines.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't even touch Roadhog and for a while.
God.
And it was so
Roadhog meta was so atrocious because they reverted his hook back to 1.0. If you remember 1.0. And so you'd get hooked around Africa.
Yeah.
And then get pulled back to the United States. It's wow, that happened.
It's a classic Blizzard thing where they keep making these small incremental buffs hoping that it makes the character balanced. And then they never realize that's not enough to make the character balanced. And then when they finally nerf some other character that is meta, then they're
that character's overpowered.
Yeah, that character's overpowered because these small incremental balance changes weren't doing anything because this one character was broken, but now that character sucks. You made a fucking monster beast thing.
It's like Genji.
Roadhog, yeah.
Yeah, Genji Roadhog. Like Genji when Overwatch 2 first came out, it's we took away all the CC that make Genji invalid to play. Yeah. It was just a monster. It was just literally Overwatch 2, Overwatch OWL was just boiled down to who was the better Genji player because all you did is you get Nana, you get Blade, Exodia, you win the fight.
Yeah. I mean, with the Roadhog example, right? Not only were they making those small buffs, but then one, the CC was gone, but then also Kiriko got rid of all his weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all that. Of course he was going to be OP. Anyone could have told you that. And yeah, here you are, just small, buffing the character. And
it's surprise Pikachu face. It's
exactly. Because, I mean, I play, the two developers that I had the main experience with is Blizzard and Riot Games. Yeah. And, seeing the vast different approaches between the two, I don't know anything about League. I don't really follow the League patches. I've heard that Riot has been really bad with the League patches, but at least for Valorant, they're actually pretty good with it. I would say the game is fairly balanced. There's obviously some outliers, but I would say Valorant is one of the more balanced games I've played.
Yeah, I mean, I think just for League, and speaking of League terms, it's the game is so old that when you adjust one small thing, a lot of the stuff that you forget about just comes back up.
Yeah.
I'd be because for the longest time, in professional play, Orin is the only tank champion that's ever been seeing. Well, I guess it's Sejuani now.
Yeah.
But Orin is the only top lane tank champion that could ever go, and then in there's such a big difference between because they're balancing for pro play or top diamond up basically.
Yeah.
But all the casual experience is just horrendous. When pre-patch first came out, Heartsteel. Heartsteel was the most busted. It literally let you infinitely stack HP.
Right.
But Heartsteel was so broken in lower elos that nobody could play anything other than Scion, Set, all the Heartsteel HP stacking. But in high elo, Jack Show was an insane problem in preseason, and now it's kind of come full circle because everybody wrote off the last tank item, which is Radiant Virtue. Now that item is completely busted, and now they're reworking that.
Yeah.
So it's there's so much there's so many mechanics at play because League is such a legacy game.
Yeah.
That when you adjust one small thing, it has a butterfly effect on the entire game.
So basically, I mean, I guess the way you're describing it is kind of the same Overwatch issue where it's there's stuff that they changes that made in the past that they make one change in the present that just comes back to bite them.
I think it's stuff like that, but also the game has gotten faster. So a lot of there's a lot of systems are outdated. So when like way back like 5 years ago when they changed AD carries,
Yeah.
they could never foreseen like mages coming to the bot lane because AD carries are so weak.
Yeah.
It's like now you have like Caitlyn support because like lane pride, like the game itself has evolved from just like NA ramming it down mid at like 20 minutes because your team's ahead to like now level 1 you're literally not even coin flipping, but you're like trying to fight for like the smallest amount of priority in lane so you can go help your jungler at minute 2 clear crabs, because if you don't do that then their bot lane will go up and just kill your jungler. So there's like the game has evolved to a point where it's like any small mistake, even at the lower elos, any like mistake in like prio or in like pathing will just completely ruin your game.
Okay.
So
I mean, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of like interesting to hear that philosophy, because I wonder if like Valorant will undergo the same thing when it gets more characters. Because the way that Valorant, like at least the way that Riot patches Valorant now, like when you're looking at, I mean, they haven't stated this, but it just seems kind of clear from the way that they do it, is that they have like a specific objective in mind when they release like the big balance patches.
Yeah.
Like last big balance patch they released, like their objective was to essentially like make it so that it was harder to kill util with other pieces of util, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually that basically made it so that Killjoy was more meta because you couldn't destroy your ult with as much util.
Yeah.
And so basically the idea was that get Chamber out of the meta, introduce Killjoy, which I don't know if they need to do that. I think they could have made Killjoy and Cypher more equal, but regardless, it's whatever. But like that was their specific objective. Where I feel like as for Overwatch, it's like they just throw in shit at the wall and be
like is the game fun?
Yeah.
No, I think Riot has now had the chance to have a different game.
Yeah.
So like they've been doing League for like 11 years now, and they have now a new budding esports that they can do. Like they can make prosper, and I think they've taken their lessons from League, because like League has like this notorious patches like the Juggernaut meta. They had 80 carries scaling to infinity. They've had junglers just counter jungling like crazy and like putting junglers at insane level disadvantages. So they've taken all that knowledge that they've seen in like League and then put it in Valorant, because I don't think Valorant has ever had a bad patch other than like introducing Chamber, where everybody's like, holy Chamber is busted. But even then they started like trying to nerf.
I mean, I would say Chamber wasn't even the worst meta. I would say Astra meta was the worst, because at that point you were just like,
oh yeah, it's just all set up.
Yeah, you were playing fucking like post plant simulator the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, all right, bomb is down. Oh, I try to defuse, I get sucked off. Oh,
yeah,
that was a nade that comes in. Oh, now the fucking molly comes in. So it was like that was less fun.
But it was like relatively quick, because like even like the Astra meta lasted maybe like 5 months, maybe 4 months.
Longer. I would say like maybe like 7 to 8 months.
Yeah, and then, I mean it was fixed. Yeah. And then Chamber lasted like a year.
Yeah.
Like whatever, but like the Juggernaut meta like never went away.
Yeah.
Like now, like it never went away in a sense of like, yes, it did go away, but then it got like one item got buffed, like Bork got buffed, and then they just came back.
Yeah. And then League is like very interesting too, because like people can like ban specific characters, and then also you can buy specific items. So like the thing is, like, let's just say a specific item is broken. Well, like they buff another item to counter it, but it's like, okay, well, what if some dumbass doesn't buy that item?
Yeah.
Then it's like, what do you do?
I mean, like Valorant. I think Valorant will get to a point where there's agent bans. They just don't have enough agents yet.
They don't have enough agents, but I think when they start introducing agent bans, that's like going to be a big concern. And the reason I say that is because I think at that point, I think agent bans would be good in a vacuum, but it's just that at that point, that's when you know that there's too many variables going on, and so it's just like, like when you introduce bans, a lot of what happens is that people ban like the most broken character.
Yeah.
But then then that the fact that character is broken is highlighted, and so at that point it's like, okay, well, that there's obviously a problem, and so it just kind of exacerbates an issue that like probably isn't as bad as people think it is.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Because I think with Valorant it would be good. I think Overwatch needed a draft system like 10 years ago, but
I think it needs a ban system at least.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
But we have been going on for a little bit, so we're gonna try to wrap it up here. We do have a little current event. I think tomorrow at like 12:40 we have a GBM. So you'll see me, you'll see Juan. You won't see Awesome. He's going to be working. But we have a GBM. We're gonna have Boba there. I think we're getting milk tea sometime tomorrow.
Nice.
To get it. We have boba right there, so I got to bring that back. But, yeah, we have a GBM. You should come. It's in Pearlstein, I believe. Let me actually pull it up on my phone. The president doesn't know where it is. It is in... Oh, yeah, it is in Pearlstein. I was right. 131. I believe that's the lecture hall. Yeah. But it's there we're there from 12:50 to 1:50. So show up. You'll get boba. You'll see the exec board there. We're also doing elections there. So.
Are you doing elections in person?
Nah, we're doing those. It's still gonna be a Google form.
Well, but like the announcement, I guess.
Yeah, then the announcement will be in person. So.
Okay.
If you're interested in running for my spot as president or Juan's spot as vice president, and there's other positions being opened, so if you're interested in that, also show up. We'll tell you more about that. But I think that's it for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's really it on my end, too. Well, do you want to talk about the riot hack or no?
We've been going on for a little bit, so we can save that for later.
Yeah, okay.
All right. But we are going to try to get this out weekly, maybe every weekend. Yeah. So stay tuned for more announcements. And from us, that'd be a good night.
All right. Thank you, everyone.